I knew you couldn't get enough of our sexy content. Let's have a quickie. Hello, all you sexy souls. I knew you couldn't get enough of me and our wonderful content. So, I am starting a new series, and this is a quick and dirty way to get some condensed, saturated, sexy, educational content. So, welcome to our Salty Sex Cast Quickie. I'm your host, Mariah, and for our first one, we are going to just jump into the topic of how to be sex positive. It is a hashtag. It's something that's always going around, sex positivity. But what does it actually mean, and how can you be more sex positive? When I first started seeing this around, I was like, oh, okay, it's people who are just really in tune to their bodies and are just happy to, participate in their own sexuality, and they're not very afraid anymore or have a lot of stigma around it. But then going deeper, it was so much more. And as you see on the podcast, we really explore a lot of these types of topics in a sex positive way. But how do you want to be more sex positive? So one of the first steps is knowing that sex is and forever will be a part of your well-being. There is no denying that we are sexual beings. We need connection. We need intimacy. We need to understand that this is a part of our wellness, because if it continually gets skipped over, it's going to actually bleed into other parts of our holistic well-being. And it's good to just explore the definition of sexual health so we can understand sex positivity in a little bit different light as well. But the World Health Organization defines sexual health as a state of physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being in relation to sexuality. It is not merely the absence of disease, dysfunction, or infirmity. Sexual health requires a positive and respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships, as well as the possibility of having pleasurable and safe sexual experiences free of coercion, discrimination, and violence. So for sexual health to be attained and maintained, the sexual rights of all persons must be respected, protected, and fulfilled. Whew! That is a heavy definition. And just really thinking about all of these things, free from disease and dysfunction, but also free from coercion and discrimination and violence. That's all part of being sex positive. It is not, woohoo, me flashing my really pretty pink dildo and taking pictures of it on social media and not being, fear of stigma and other people like saying, oh, that's dirty and gross or whatever. It is so much more than that. So that's really something I really want to, and I'm not poo-pooing on anyone being super excited about a new dildo, by the way. Like, you post that. But another part of being sex positive is keeping judgment out of it. There really is no room for judgment when you're trying to be sex positive. Quick, easy way to think of this is don't yuck someone else's yum. Don't judge, if they are doing something that you're like, ew, that's gross or that's weird. Try to find out what is keeping you from that thought. Why are you so worried about it? What messages have you historically listened to that are telling you it's wrong? So on that, I also want you to question your negative perspectives on topics. So ask yourself, why are these thoughts coming up for me? Is there another narrative that I'm just not listening to? Typically, for me exploring that myself, the narrative that I always would hold to the forefront was deeply rooted in religious beliefs. And so that hindered me from exploring a lot of these topics and listening to other new narratives that really just expanded my awareness around what sex positivity was, just having a positive outlook on my own sexuality and then empowering myself to take control of that sexuality. Oh my gosh, how powerful. So keeping judgment out of it, that's really important. But I also want to challenge all of you to find credible sources when you're looking at sex information. And not only credible sources, but ones with varying viewpoints, and having that create your own connection and your own new definition and what comes up for you. But when you're exploring different viewpoints, it can really help, again, show a different narrative that you may have been closed off to or afraid to explore. I mean, this can be on so many different topics, but typically the ones that kind of come to the forefront are sexual identity, sexual expression, kink, anything that's kind of different, that's not so mainstream. And, find those varying viewpoints and those credible sources on those types of topics. You will be just completely floored at how many wonderful resources there are to safely and without shame, like shameless. I don't want to use that word, but explore these topics. It's just really, really cool. And so I've really had fun doing that myself. But so exploring out things outside of you, again, different resources, but taking the time to explore sex in your own way and on your own time. This is really, really important for me to be sex positive. Someone else's journey with sex is going to be very, very different than my own. Someone's going to be like, oh, I was able to explore this and find this, and now I can have multiple orgasms or multiple sexual partners or whatever it is. Try not to compare your journey with someone else's. Take time to explore your own self-pleasure and what you like, not what someone else is telling you you should like. I will tell you, I have not found some things that I have found things that I just don't like, and that's okay, and I'm totally fine with it, but I don't shame other people or look down upon them or put that judgment for liking something else. To explore your own sexuality, you can even explore your fantasies. Like, what's coming up for you? Why is this something that's exciting or kind of brings on those feelings? That's another way to help you be more sex positive, knowing what you like, being positive around your own interests. Another one I want to say is develop positive relationship with your body. And, you can do this by building positive body image, questioning beauty ideals. There's so many ways. It's really easier said than done. But to keep this a quickie today, I will just put that out there and then challenge you to find some ways to create more positive body image to have more sex positivity as well. They are very interrelated. Another big one, and it's really important, is understanding how to set sexual boundaries, not only with others, but with yourself. So if you are using pornographic images or other things like that to explore your own sexuality, that you're understanding where that health line is drawn and when it starts taking away energy and creating negative behaviors and habits. So having those boundaries anytime anyone is also, again, coercion, discrimination, violence. This is where we can draw those boundaries and have that optimal sexuality and sex positivity. The last one I want to leave you with is being an advocate, not only for yourself and your sexual health, but for the sexual health of others. So this looks like supporting laws or policies, even the norms that allow everyone to join in the conversation. That even includes providing comprehensive sex education to everyone. Be that advocate for that education. This is one step. I also want to just call out, being sex positive is also being an ally to those who don't have the same privileges as you. So just kind of looking at those few things, I left you with just a couple nuggets. There's so much more. This isn't a comprehensive list of how to be sex positive, but it's a great way to start that journey if you're looking to explore it. So thank you so much for joining me on our first Salty Sex Cast Quickie. I will see you for more. Bye. Thanks for the quickie. See you next week.